Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the genetic sequence scrolling across her holographic display, her hands trembling as the implications became clear. After 15 years of working with the Galactic Confederation's medical exchange program, she had finally discovered their true purpose on Earth. It wasn't about advancing human medicine, it was about harvesting humanity's genetic potential. The laboratory around her hummed with the familiar sounds of medical equipment, but now each buzz and whir felt sinister. She glanced at the rows of DNA samples, thousands of them, collected from volunteer programs across the globe. The Confederation had claimed they were studying human resistance to diseases. In reality, they were mapping something far more valuable. Director Chen, the Confederation representatives have arrived for the quarterly review. Her assistant's voice came through the intercom, startling her from her revelation. Sarah quickly encrypted her findings and transferred them to a quantum-locked drive. "Tell them I'll be there in 5 minutes." Her voice remained steady despite her racing heart. Years of diplomatic interactions with alien species had taught her to maintain composure under pressure. The quarterly review meeting room was filled with the usual array of Confederation species. The tall, ethereal Lysians with their translucent skin. The sturdy Kroth representatives encased in their environmental suits. And at the head of the table, Ambassador Exortel, the Confederation's chief medical officer for Earth operations. Dr. Chen, Exortel's melodious voice filled the room, his 4 eyes focusing on her with unsettling intensity. "We're eager to hear about your progress with Project Genesis." Sarah took her seat, acutely aware of the encrypted drive in her pocket. "Of course, Ambassador. However, I'd like to begin with some questions about the project's parameters." She activated her presentation screen, showing carefully selected data that wouldn't reveal her discovery. "We've noticed some anomalies in the genetic sampling requirements." Exortel's upper eyes narrowed slightly, a gesture Sarah had learned meant concern. "Anomalies?" "Yes. The sampling patterns suggest you're not just studying disease resistance. You're mapping something else entirely." Sarah watched as subtle tension rippled through the alien representatives. "Something related to human adaptive capabilities." The room temperature seemed to drop several degrees. Exortel's lower set of eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of agitation. "Dr. Chen, I assure you the Confederation's interests are purely medical dash." "Like they were on Proxima B?" Sarah interrupted, playing her first card. "Before the colony there was quarantine due to an outbreak." The Lysian representative stood abruptly, their translucent skin clouding with anger. "This meeting is concluded. Dr. Chen, you clearly need rest. Perhaps a vacation dash." "What I need," Sarah said, standing to face them, "is the truth about why the Confederation is so interested in human genetics. Particularly our ability to adapt and evolve faster than any known species." The facade cracked. Exortel's voice lost its melodious quality, becoming harsh and cold. "You have no idea what you're involving yourself in, Doctor. Humanity is a resource, one that the Confederation has spent centuries cultivating. Your species' unique genetic malleability is too valuable to be left unchecked." "Centuries?" Sarah's mind raced. "How long have you really been watching us?" "Long enough to know that humans are dangerous," the Kroth representative rumbled. "Your kind adapts too quickly, evolves too readily. Left unchecked, you could destabilize the entire galactic order." Sarah laughed bitterly. "So this isn't about medicine at all. It's about control. About keeping humanity contained while you harvest our genetic potential for yourselves." "It was a mutually beneficial arrangement," Exortel said. "We got what we needed, and humanity received protection and technological advancement. But now..." He gestured, and hidden panels in the walls slid open, revealing armed security drones. "Now you force us to accelerate our timeline." Sarah's hand closed around the drive in her pocket. "Whatever you're planning, you should know my discovery has already been secured and distributed." "To whom?" Exortel demanded. Your primitive encryption can't hide anything from us. Sarah smiled, thinking of the quantum-locked transmission she'd sent to multiple secure locations before the meeting. You've studied human genetics for centuries, but you still underestimate human ingenuity. We've been preparing for something like this since first contact. We just needed proof of your true intentions. Alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Sarah's smile widened as confusion spread across the alien faces. That would be the facility's containment protocols activating. Designed by humans, built by humans, and completely independent of Confederation systems. This changes nothing, Exortel snarled. The Confederation's fleet is already mobilizing. Humanity had its chance to develop under our guidance. Now you'll be developed by force. No, Sarah said, standing tall despite the weapons trained on her. Now humanity knows the truth. And if there's one thing you should have learned about us in all your centuries of study, it's that humans fight hardest when backed into a corner. The facility's lights flickered as secondary systems engaged. In the distance, the sound of explosions echoed through the building. Sarah's personal comm unit vibrated with a predetermined signal. Her data had been received and distributed globally. The truth about the Confederation was spreading across every network, every channel, every communication platform on Earth. You have 1 hour, Sarah announced to the increasingly agitated aliens. 1 hour to evacuate all Confederation personnel from Earth. After that, we consider your presence an act of war. You're in no position to make demands, Exortel sneered. Your primitive weapons are nothing compared to our fleet. Sarah's final smile was cold. That's the problem with studying humanity as specimens rather than equals. You never bother to learn what we're truly capable of. 1 hour, Ambassador. Then you'll find out exactly what humanity has been preparing for. As if to punctuate her words, the facility's power grid crashed completely, plunging the room into darkness. When the emergency lights activated seconds later, Sarah was gone, along with all the genetic samples from the laboratory. The first shots in a war centuries in the making had been fired, not with weapons, but with the very thing the Confederation had sought to control, human ingenuity. In orbit, hidden sensors began tracking Confederation ship movements. In bunkers deep beneath the Earth's surface, long-dormant systems hummed to life. And in secure facilities across the globe, military leaders reviewed long-established protocols for this exact scenario. Humanity had been betrayed, but they hadn't been helpless. The Confederation's greatest mistake wasn't in trying to control humanity, it was in giving them time to prepare for the moment when that control failed. The war for human independence was about to begin. General Marcus Rodriguez stood in the control center of Facility Zero, a massive underground complex that officially didn't exist. Around him, hundreds of technicians and military personnel worked with practiced efficiency, awakening systems that had been waiting decades for this moment. Status report, he commanded, watching as massive holographic displays showed Confederation ships taking up attack positions around Earth. Colonel Emma Hayes, his second-in-command, stepped forward. Project Phoenix is at 89% activation, sir. All 6 primary facilities are online, and the quantum shield grid is charging. She paused, checking her data pad. Dr. Chen's data has been fully distributed. The public is responding. Marcus nodded grimly. Above them, nearly 1 billion humans were just learning that their alien benefactors had been conducting genetic experiments on them for centuries. The resulting chaos was exactly what they'd planned for. And our guests, he asked. Waiting in the diplomatic chamber. They're anxious to meet you. Marcus straightened his uniform and headed for the elevator. The guests had arrived just hours after Dr. Chen's revelation, though their coming had been predicted years ago by Project Phoenix's predictive algorithms. The diplomatic chamber was unlike anything else in the facility. While most of Zero was utilitarian military design, this room featured elegant architecture and comfortable seating for multiple species. In the center stood three figures that made Marcus pause despite his years of preparation. They were predecessors, members of a species that had supposedly gone extinct 10,000 years ago. Their crystalline bodies caught the light in ways that seemed impossible, and their very presence seemed to distort reality slightly. General Rodriguez, the tallest of them, spoke, its voice resonating directly in Marcus's mind. "We have watched and waited, as your kind has grown and prepared. The time we predicted has come." Marcus approached, showing no sign of intimidation. "You knew the Confederation would betray us." "We knew because we created them," another predecessor stated. "Just as we uplifted dozens of species before them." But humanity. The being's crystalline form shifted, creating patterns of light that expressed something like approval. Humanity was different. "You've been guiding us," Marcus said. It wasn't a question. The mysterious, technological advances, the seemingly random breakthroughs in quantum mechanics. "We provided opportunities," the third predecessor corrected. "Humanity chose what to do with them. You took our subtle hints about quantum engineering and created weapons we never imagined. You saw our suggestions about genetic stability and developed defenses against the very tampering the Confederation was attempting." Colonel Hayes, who had followed Marcus into the chamber, couldn't contain herself. "Why help us in secret? Why not stop the Confederation directly?" The predecessors' crystalline forms pulsed with something like amusement. "Because directly interfering never works. We tried that with the Confederation races. We gave them everything, taught them everything. And they became dependent, stagnant, afraid of species that could learn and grow on their own." Marcus understood. "So you let them think they were manipulating us, while actually preparing humanity for this moment," the first predecessor confirmed. "The Confederation believes they are the dominant force in the galaxy. They have forgotten that their power was given to them. Humanity's power was earned." Alarms blared throughout the facility. Colonel Hayes checked her tablet and paled. "Sir, the Confederation fleet is powering up their main weapons. They're not waiting for our deadline." Marcus smiled grimly. "Of course not. They think we're helpless." He turned to the predecessors. "I assume this is where you tell us your grand plan to save humanity." The crystalline beings shifted, creating patterns that somehow conveyed both amusement and approval. "No, General. This is where we watch humanity save itself. We merely wanted to be here to witness it." Marcus nodded to Hayes. "Initiate Project Phoenix. All facilities, full activation." Across the planet, deep underground facilities hummed to life. In orbit, cloaked satellites activated quantum field generators. And in hidden shipyards buried beneath the Earth's oceans and mountains, humanity's real fleet prepared for launch. The Confederation had spent centuries studying human genetics, looking for ways to control humanity's rapid adaptation. They should have been studying human history, particularly humanity's tendency to prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. Project Phoenix wasn't just a defense program. It was the culmination of decades of reverse-engineered technology, combined with humanity's unique innovations. Every gift from the Confederation had been studied, improved upon, and weaponized. Every scrap of data they'd shared had been analyzed for weaknesses. "Quantum shield grid at full power," Hayes reported. "Fleet commanders report ready for launch." "Sir, they still don't see us coming." Marcus watched the tactical displays as the Confederation fleet moved into attack formation. They were following standard tactical protocols that humanity had studied for decades. "Let them fire first," he ordered. "Let them see their weapons fail. Then show them what humanity has been doing while they thought they were studying us." The predecessors watched in silence as humanity prepared to reveal its true strength. They had chosen well when they decided to guide rather than control. The Confederation was about to learn why. In orbit, the first Confederation ships opened fire on Earth. Their energy weapons, capable of destroying cities, met the quantum shield grid and dissipated harmlessly. In the silence that followed, humanity's hidden fleet began to rise. The war for the galaxy was about to begin. And humanity was finally ready to show its true power. The void of space lit up with energy as Earth's hidden fleet emerged from their concealment. Captain Diana Patel stood on the bridge of the EFS Prometheus, humanity's first true capital ship, watching as thousands of vessels rose from their hidden bases on Earth, Mars, and deep within the asteroid belt. All ships reporting ready, Captain, her tactical officer reported. Quantum drive synchronized. Confederation forces are confused. Diana allowed herself a small smile. The Confederation fleet hung in high orbit, their weapons still cycling after their failed attack on Earth. Their formation, once perfect, was now scattered as ships tried to track the seemingly endless stream of human vessels appearing from nowhere. Open a channel to all Confederation ships, Diana ordered. Let's give them one last chance to avoid this. The communications officer nodded, and Diana squared her shoulders. Confederation fleet, this is Captain Diana Patel of the Earth Defense Force. Your attack on our world has failed. Your attempts to subjugate humanity have failed. You have 10 minutes to retreat beyond the orbit of Mars, or we will respond with force. The response came quickly, filled with the arrogance Diana had expected. This is High Commander Vex Thor of the Confederation Strike Fleet. Your primitive deceptions cannot hide your weakness. Surrender now, and perhaps some of your species will survive as useful genetic stock. Diana cut the transmission. They really don't understand us at all, do they? She turned to her crew, all hand-picked for this moment. Battle stations. Initiate quantum lock on all Confederation vessels. Prepare to demonstrate why humanity doesn't need their guidance anymore. The Prometheus hummed with power as its quantum drive engaged. Unlike the conventional faster-than-light drives used by the Confederation, humanity's quantum technology didn't just move through space, it manipulated it. All ships report quantum lock established, tactical reported. Ready on your command. Diana took a deep breath. Execute pattern Phoenix 1. Across the battlefield, human ships vanished in flashes of quantum energy, reappearing instantly at predetermined coordinates. The Confederation fleet, expecting a conventional space battle, found themselves suddenly surrounded, their carefully planned formation now worthless. Multiple Confederation ships powering weapons, tactical announced. They're trying to target our quantum signatures. Let them, Diana replied calmly. Show them what humans can do with quantum mechanics. The Confederation opened fire, their energy weapons lighting up space, and passing harmlessly through quantum-shifted space where human ships had been microseconds before. The human fleet's response was devastating. Quantum-tipped missiles phased through Confederation shields, appearing inside their ships' hulls. Beam weapons bent space itself, hitting targets from impossible angles. Confederation fleet reporting heavy damage, tactical reported, a note of awe in their voice. Their shields, they've never seen weapons like this. They can't adapt. Diana watched as the mighty Confederation fleet, terror of 1,000 worlds, found itself being systematically dismantled by the very species they had thought to control. But she felt no joy in the victory, only determination to end this quickly. Target their command ship, she ordered. All vessels, prepare for synchronized quantum strike. The Prometheus and its sister ships moved into position, their quantum drives humming in perfect harmony. This was humanity's greatest breakthrough, the ability to link quantum effects across multiple ships, creating phenomena that defied conventional physics. Quantum synchronization at 100%, the science officer reported. Ready to execute. Diana gave the order, and space itself seemed to fold. The Confederation command ship, a massive vessel larger than anything humanity had ever built, suddenly found itself occupying the same space as a quantum field generated by 20 human ships working in concert. The results were spectacular. The command ship didn't explode, it simply ceased to exist in normal space, its matter and energy scattered across quantum states. Multiple Confederation ships powering down weapons, Tactical reported excitedly. They're retreating. Diana watched as the once mighty fleet broke formation, ships frantically jumping to faster-than-light travel in all directions. The battle for Sol was over almost as quickly as it had begun. But as Diana looked at the tactical display showing the retreating ships, she knew this was just the beginning. The Confederation wouldn't accept this defeat. They would return with a larger fleet, with new weapons, with desperate determination to prove their superiority. And humanity would be ready. Send word to Earth, she ordered. Phase 1 complete. Begin Phase 2 preparations. She turned to her crew, seeing the same mix of pride and determination on their faces. The Confederation thought they were studying us, preparing us for their use. Instead, they gave us the tools to surpass them. Now we show them what humanity can really do. In the debris field that had once been the Confederation command ship, quantum particles danced in patterns never before seen in this galaxy. Humanity had announced its presence on the galactic stage not with a whimper of submission, but with a demonstration of power that would send shockwaves through the Confederation. The battle for Sol was won. The war for humanity's future was just beginning. Admiral Elena Santos stood before the Alliance Council, a diverse gathering of both human and alien representatives. 3 months had passed since the Battle of Sol, and humanity's victory had sent shockwaves through the galaxy. Now, in this secret facility on Europa, she faced the leaders of what was becoming the greatest resistance movement the galaxy had ever seen. The Confederation's propaganda machine is working overtime, Elena began, gesturing to the holographic displays showing broadcasts from across controlled space. They're painting us as dangerous revolutionaries, genetic aberrations that need to be contained. But their message is failing. The holographs shifted, showing scenes from a dozen worlds. Confederation colony planets where the local populations had begun questioning their masters. Space stations where trade had ground to a halt as merchants refused to transport Confederation goods. And most importantly, the growing number of Confederation military ships whose crews had defected. They told the galaxy we were savages, Elena continued, but our victory at Sol showed everyone something different. We didn't just win, we showed mercy. We let their ships retreat. We rescued their crews. And now, a Lysian representative stood, his translucent skin glowing with emotion. Now many of us see the truth. The Confederation doesn't protect us, they control us. They don't guide us, they stifle us. Elena nodded. The Lysians had been among the first to break away, their entire sector declaring independence after witnessing humanity's quantum technology in action. Not because of the power it represented, but because humanity had developed it independently, proving the Confederation's claims of superiority false. Our spies report the Confederation is gathering a massive fleet, a Kroth ambassador rumbled. They mean to make an example of Earth. Let them try, Elena replied, activating a new holographic display. While they gather their conventional forces, we've been busy. The display showed new shipyards, hidden in asteroid fields and nebulae across dozens of systems. Humanity isn't just fighting for itself anymore. We're fighting for everyone the Confederation has suppressed. The images shifted to show the new hybrid ships being constructed. Vessels that combined human quantum technology with Lysian energy systems, Kroth armor innovations, and dozens of other contributions from species that had joined the alliance. The Confederation believes in superiority through control, Elena continued. We believe in strength through cooperation. They think their genetic tampering made us strong. They don't understand that humanity's real strength comes from our ability to adapt, to learn, to work together. A sudden alert interrupted the meeting. Elena's tactical officer, Commander Chen, rushed in. Admiral, we're detecting massive quantum disturbances in the Proxima system. The Confederation, they're trying to copy our technology. Elena smiled grimly. Show me. The holographs shifted to show Confederation ships attempting to use stolen quantum drive technology. The results were catastrophic. Ships twisted in impossible ways, matter and energy scattering across space-time. They don't understand, Elena explained to the shocked council. Quantum technology isn't just about the machines. It requires a fundamental shift in thinking. Humanity spent generations preparing our minds to work with quantum mechanics. You can't just copy the technology without understanding the principles. The Lysian representative's skin rippled with patterns of realization. That's why you're teaching us the principles first. Not just giving us the technology. Exactly, Elena confirmed. The alliance isn't about one species dominating others. It's about all of us growing together. The Confederation thinks this is a war of weapons and ships. But it's really a war of ideas. Commander Chen interrupted again. Admiral, we're receiving transmissions from within Confederation space. Their failed quantum experiments, the news is spreading. Systems are declaring independence. Their own people are turning against them. Elena turned back to the council. This is our moment. While the Confederation gathers its fleet for a massive attack, they're losing the real war. The war for hearts and minds. The council chamber erupted in discussion as representatives realized the implications. The Confederation's greatest weapon had always been their image of superiority, of being the galaxy's guiding force. That image was cracking. Begin Phase 3, Elena ordered. Distribute the quantum principles to all Alliance worlds. Share our defensive technologies. Let every species see that they don't need the Confederation to advance. As the council meeting dissolved into urgent planning sessions, Elena watched the holographs showing more and more systems breaking away from Confederation control. The real victory wouldn't come from battles in space. It would come from showing the galaxy a better way. The Confederation had spent centuries building an empire based on control and fear. Humanity was showing the galaxy what could be achieved through cooperation and trust. And that, more than any weapon, would be their undoing. Supreme Commander Zar-El of the Confederation stood in the central chamber of the Galactic Council, watching his empire crumble through the vast holographic displays surrounding him. 6 months had passed since humanity's quantum revelation, and everything was falling apart. Another sector has declared independence, his aide reported nervously. The Centauri colonies are refusing to process our genetic research materials. And, sir, we've lost contact with the archival worlds. The archival worlds. The Confederation's most closely guarded secret, planets containing the complete genetic library of every species they'd ever guided. Their loss was unthinkable. Show me Earth, Zar-El commanded. The holographs shifted to show the Sol system, but it was unlike anything the Confederation had ever seen. A quantum field envelope surrounded the entire system, making conventional scanning impossible. Behind that barrier, sensor echoes suggested activity on a scale that defied comprehension. Fleet Admiral Sarah Chen, once a mere genetic researcher, now appeared on every display in the chamber. The Confederation's own communication network had been compromised, turned against them. Confederation Council, she began, her voice carrying an authority that made Zar-El's scales bristle. Your empire of control is over. We've accessed your archival worlds. We know everything, every species you've manipulated, every civilization you've stunted, every potential you've suppressed. Zar-El watched in horror as data began streaming across all channels. Centuries of genetic manipulation exposed. The deliberate suppression of technological advancement. The careful breeding programs designed to keep species dependent on Confederation guidance. But we're not like you, Sarah continued. We're not here to control or suppress. We're here to offer a choice. The quantum barrier around Sol suddenly dropped, revealing what humanity and their allies had been building. It wasn't a fleet of warships. It was a network of quantum gates, massive structures that pulsed with energy. These gates lead to neutral space, Sarah explained. Zones where any species can come to learn, to grow, to reach their true potential. No control. No manipulation. Just cooperation and mutual advancement. You'll destroy everything. Zar-El roared. Without our guidance, without control dash. Without control, we'll all grow stronger, Sarah interrupted. Humanity proved that. You tried to control us, to harvest our potential. Instead, we showed the galaxy what real potential looks like. Across Confederation space, quantum gates began appearing, transported through space-time by technology the Confederation couldn't begin to understand. And through those gates came not soldiers or weapons, but teachers, scientists, and diplomats from dozens of species. Your empire wasn't built on strength, Sarah continued. It was built on fear. Fear of what different species might become if allowed to grow freely. We're removing that fear. Zar-El watched as centuries of careful control unraveled in moments. Species that the Confederation had kept separate for millennia were meeting, sharing ideas, forming connections. The careful hierarchies and divisions that had maintained their power were dissolving. This is your final warning, Sarah announced. Release your control over all systems. End your genetic manipulation programs. Join us as equals, or be left behind as the galaxy moves forward without you. In that moment, Zar-El understood the true magnitude of the Confederation's failure. They had seen humanity's genetic potential for rapid adaptation and tried to harvest it. They should have been studying humanity's greater gift, the ability to imagine a better future and work together to achieve it. The quantum gates pulsed with energy as more and more worlds chose to join the new alliance. Not through conquest or control, but through the simple power of showing a better way. The Confederation's empire didn't end with a great battle or a heroic last stand. It ended with a choice that every species they had tried to control could finally make for themselves. Humanity had done what no other species had managed in the history of the galaxy. They had shattered an empire not through superior firepower or advanced technology, but by offering something the Confederation never could, freedom to grow, to learn, and to reach for the stars together. The age of control was over. The age of cooperation had begun. And in the quantum networks that now connected the galaxy, the crystalline forms of the predecessors watched in silence, knowing they had chosen well when they decided to guide humanity with the lightest of touches. The galaxy was changing, growing, evolving, just as it always should have been. The empire had fallen. And from its ashes, something far greater was rising.